Alright, this is okay again. Today we're going to do replace an angle stop. Turn the water off to the building. Should try to get the water out. And use a new ball valve angle stop. Now, on the instructions it says don't use like Teflon tape or nothing like that. You could use oil to, when this nut tightens down on it, it tightens all the way. So it says to use a little bit of oil. A lot of us as plumbers, we just use like pipe dope. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna get everything ready. So I just put a little bit of pipe dope on there, just so when I tighten it down, it just tightens a little better. And we got the ferrule and the nut. The ferrule goes over the old pipe. So that's what we're gonna do, is pull the angle stop off. Undo the supply line. I'm going to replace this supply line, so I'm just going to take the whole thing off. So under the tank is this guy here. You just unspin it. So what I'm doing is using a crescent wrench to hold the back of the angle stop, and then with my channel locks I'm just gonna loosen the bolt or loosen the nut. While it's loose, what I'm gonna do is, it's still on, I'm just gonna spin it upside down, that way just any excess water would drain out. And we're on the second floor, so on the first floor I flush the toilet down there just to get the water out the line. Alright, so now usually I want to remove this old nut and the old ferrule. And you could either pull it off, but most likely you can't. So I'm going to use a ferrule puller. So to take that nut and the old ferrule off, I'm going to use this tool here. This is a ferrule puller. So basically this open end It's going to go behind the nut. This end right here is going to go inside the pipe. It's going to hold it while I tighten this down, and it's going to pull it off. It's just a puller. The most important thing about using this tool is that the back part of this tool has a ridge where it slides into the pipe, holding it. So you want to kind of line that up. If you don't, it's going to deform the pipe, and you're going to have troubles installing the new angle stop. So once we got it on there, just pull it off, tighten it. And a lot of people just would want to reuse the old nut and ferrule, but what happens is when you just tighten down the nut and the angle stop, it compresses the ferrule, and when the ferrule compresses, it tightens down on the pipe coming out the wall. So that being said, once that ferrule gets compressed, you can't, well, you could try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but then it's gonna leak. But I always pull these off, put a new one in. This is on there too. Alright, so the ferrule compressed down so much that it squeezed the pipe down to the size of the ferrule. So now it's kind of deformed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up cutting this back here behind the nut, and then I have a tool to reform the pipe, and then we're going to install our angle stop. So I don't get my saw, I'm going to pause it. Alright, so I cut the little piece of the tip off. So I was saying the ferrule clamps down on the pipe. That's how it holds on to it. So when I was pulling it off, it kind of warped the pipe. So that only happens when the installer just tightens it too much and squeezes that ferrule down. So when I was pulling it off, the pipe basically squeezed to the size of the ferrule as I was pulling it, and it made that size. So if I try to put this new angle stop on there, see how much play we have? It won't hold very well because that pipe is pretty much shrunk down. So I have one of these tools, what we use for to straighten pipe out, like a flexible copper pipe. I'm gonna just take off the spec trim. Alright, so we use this tool basically for a flexible copper. This end goes on the copper, this piece goes in, and it's basically going to form the pipe back to its original size. So once we have it in, a hammer would work better. So we're going to plan B. The pipe in the wall keeps bouncing in there, so I'm just going to cut it all the way flush, put a new escutcheon, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. So none of those plans worked, so what we're going to do is, luckily there was enough pipe coming out the wall that I just cut it back to where the pipe was normal size. So this is the old trim. Got a new one. I kind of smashed it down a little bit, smashing it so it'll give us a little bit more room. That's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's like OMG. So now, got the pipe, put the nut on. This is the ferrule. So this is what gave us a problem on the taking it off the old one. Ferrule goes in. Angle stop. So when we tighten this nut and the angle stop together, it's going to crush down that ferrule, and that's what's going to hold the pipe. So the person who installed this one, or the old one, pretty much tightened it too much and crushed that ferrule down. But no, what we're going to do, so if we didn't have that little extra room right there, the next step would have been to cut open the wall, get to that copper pipe, add an extension piece and bring it out more. So look, we're lucky we got a little piece that we can still use. Now, we're just going to tighten her down. Now hold it on the body. And that's pretty much it. That's snugged on there. Well, you want to tighten it really good, but not too much. So now you can see like a couple of threads still showing. On the old one, there was absolutely no threads showing. The nut was like completely all the way tightened. That's pretty much it. Make sure that's on there really good. I'm going to close that, turn the water back on. Alright, so we're back. The water's back on. Check for leaks. Nothing's leaking. So that's how you replace an anglestop. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes you gotta work for it. Hope you liked the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. That's how how tight it was. So as soon as I seen that, I knew it was gonna be over tightened. So that's the ferrule. It's a little piece of the copper pipe still in it. That's where I cut right behind it.